Hey guys, we'll get started in just a minute. Thanks for joining.
Hey everyone, just pushed out some um, tweet and in the announcements channel on our Discord, just reminding people to come on. So it'll be a couple minutes before we get started, but today should follow the same kind of structure as usual. So if you want to come up and ask questions, please request, and we will of course be monitoring our general channel in our Discord. So please tag me, Pixel, Heidi, or one of our mods. I think Hans will be around if you have a question so that we can make sure that we don't miss any. And of course, to start, Luke will talk a bit about the project and just where we're at, what we're focusing on this sprint. But yeah, should be a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over today. Super excited to get started on this. We'll just wait a couple more minutes for people to fill in. Potentially some big alpha today too on a few announcements that we're making on plans, what we're up to, and like ways that we're trying to support this community. So definitely a big one. Stay tuned, listen, and yeah, excited to get started. We'll just wait a couple more minutes for people to filter in. Super excited to get started. And yeah, I think with that, we'll just get going. Again, this is recorded for everybody listening. And we are excited to chat with you guys. It's been a pretty hectic week, but in the best way possible. So with that, I'll go into our little intro blurb. And then what I want to do in this format too is kind of go over some community concerns, kind of give you guys like a reminder of what our values are, what we're building, why we're building this, like the way that we are doing it, and kind of like go over that all again. And then two, we have some announcements on like what we're going to be building and like some features that are coming up as well. So excited for you guys to join us. This is mid sprint, so we have features coming out in 1 week. Again, just to remind you guys, we are doing sprints. So that means every 2 weeks we're coming out with new features for you guys. The intention is to be building in public to get feedback on what we're building from you guys and to make sure that we're building the right thing. So every 2 weeks we want to be releasing new content to you, new features, new mechanics, new things for you guys to do. We're also measuring and tracking all the use that you guys are using. So we want to get like good numbers on like how engaged you guys are with certain features and get good metrics and all of that as well too. So that's coming up. So yeah, excited for you guys to join us. What we're going to start off with this is intro. So we're building Online. We're building a play to earn game that's built around the NFTs that you already own. We were pretty early on this concept of interoperability where you can bring NFTs like your CryptoPunk, like your Chibi Dino, like your Pixel Beast, and you can actually walk around as your avatar in our game. We're building a play to earn game, meaning that we are building a game where high level you can earn cryptocurrency by playing our game. But it's so much more nuanced than that. We're a huge believer in the aligned incentives. We're a huge believer in the future of the space, and we're a huge believer in like play and earn. I was actually on AMA yesterday with Chibi Dinos, and we kind of dove into this concept of like play to earn versus play and earn. We've taken a much different approach in this space than some other projects you might have seen. We believe that the key to success in this space is to build a game that people actually want to be playing first and foremost, if it wasn't blockchain backed. Um, we think the games that aren't going to do this or aren't focusing on these aspects of what they're building, like actual gameplay, are going to be the ones that won't stay around for the long term. So we're taking a backwards approach to how we're building. We've been building out game mechanics first, sending them out to you guys, testing them, and then we're blockchain backing them second. And we've been going through this process, as you guys can see, and if you guys haven't checked it out yet, you can actually play our game right now. There's a lot of work to be done on it, and there's a few initiatives we're taking right now to make this game experience even better. But the core concept is we're getting all these features out to you guys so you can actually see if the features we're building are fun. And once we're at that point, then we're going to be working on all of these blockchain components. So with that being said, I guess I have a few announcements on like where we're at with all of that, how we've been thinking about this, and responding to this like some community feedback, and just giving you guys some assurance on what we're doing. So over the last 2 months, we've been basically building our team. we've been hiring, we've been getting everything ready to start building game features, and we've hired most of our core team now. All in total, I think there's about 15 people on the Pixels payroll, which is pretty crazy. And our core team is made of about 8 or 9 members. We've been really, really picky with who we bring on. We're trying to bring on the highest level of talent that we possibly can. All of our engineers right now are ex-CTOs, which is pretty crazy. That's kind of the level of talent that we've been hiring at. So we've been putting together this really, really good team. And now we've been like slowly and slowly forming our processes to start shipping out features and getting all of our game designs sorted. So this plan to how we're building is kind of two parts. It's one, getting our whole game situated, making sure that we have good game loops, making sure that we have good game design, and making sure that we can actually build out all the features that we're saying. And part two of this plan is starting to think about the token, starting to think about, okay, when we bring in a token into this economy and into this game, how is it going to interact? How are we going to allocate the token initially? How are we going to integrate it into the game? What incentives can we create? What are ways that we can reward people who have been here really early on? What are ways that we can um, create new forms of like content for people to enjoy that might be centered around a token or an NFT. These are all the things we've been thinking about and designing, and we're about to start moving into that phase of our plan. So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes of getting everything ready in terms of game design, in terms of building team, in terms of prepping what we like have been talking about since day one of this project, building a good game first and foremost. And soon we're about to transition into that second phase too. And these are the conversations that we've been having a lot lately. We're starting to talk to all of our investors um, and other consultants, other experts in the space around how we're going to start designing this token, what the allocation is going to be like. We're thinking about all the ways we can incentivize the end outcome that we want to achieve, which is fun gameplay first and foremost. But then also recognizing that these aligned incentives that we can create around growth are extremely important and vital to the ecosystem as well too. So there's a couple of initiatives that we're working on starting soon. Number one is we're basically starting the process of designing all of our initial token, and that mostly comes around to allocation and airdrop. We think that's essential to seeding what this initial play to earn ecosystem looks like. Um, we've been saying that we're going to be doing a play to airdrop, and that still stays true. We think a lot of the portion of this initial token drop, like it's really, really important for us that this token lands in the hands of people who actually want to use our currency in game, who actually care about what we're building. There's another portion of this token that we need to be considering as well too, of making sure that we reward people who have been here in this ecosystem early, who believed in this project early on, and rewarding the people who have stuck with us through that until we drop this token as well too. So an initial portion of this token will also be reserved to people who held land early on and who held it the longest. We're actually currently working on staking mechanics as we speak as well too. So we're looking into that in the first. We're looking into staking mechanics as we speak now as well too. We were really hesitant to move into staking until we found like a compelling reason to use it in gameplay and a compelling reason to actually have this. And then also we wanted to sort out a lot of our initial gameplay and game design first before we even thought about staking. But we're starting to move into the point where staking is making sense to start working on and to start putting that process into place. We don't have a complete timeline on when that's going to happen. It'll probably be like a month to a month and a half out before we can actually build all these features. Currently, we're hiring and like finalizing all of our smart contract developers to actually be building this out. We're also training our team internally to do a lot of the smart contract development as well. But yeah, that's probably like a month to a month and a half out when we're actually going to have staking in the game, potentially like a slightly longer amount of time. But we're super excited to get that ready and out to you guys. Staking is this really awesome thing that we can do to align incentives between rewarding people who are here early on. And then also in gameplay, it makes a lot of sense too, where the gameplay mechanic that will probably center around is in order to actually edit your land and in order to make changes to your land, you'll probably have to stake your NFT as well too. We're gonna look into like how long you have to do that for. We're gonna make sure it's fair. But in terms of like staking, this is actually a mechanic that makes a ton of sense to have staking around it. More so that you can't like edit your NFT like right before you sell it, and then kind of rug the person who bought it. If you move all of your for example, if you were to move all of your soil off of this NFT and things like that as well too. We're also taking initiatives to make your NFTs that you own, the land NFTs, more unique and like reflect the traits of your NFT a bit better as well too. So right now, in game, there's not too much utility difference between a space land, between a water land, between a land, and there's not too much of a difference in game if you have a coop, if you have a silo, if you have a windmill, any of those other traits. We're taking initiatives to make those pretty differentiated. There might be some drastic changes around that too. That's coming up, but basically, we're going to be respecting rarity of these traits a bit more, making sure that they're focused and like balanced around the gameplay. And there'll be some visual changes coming up with that soon too. Like for example, space plots will look a lot different than water plots coming up. We're trying to do like as least non-destructive changes as we can. But just know, like, yeah, if you have a more rare land, there's probably going to be some differences coming with that, and they'll be reflected in the NFTs soon. So a lot
So
of
sorry,
initiatives
just
around
to
that.
touch on that, sorry to cut you off, but there's someone asking a question specifically about this, so I thought it'd be a great time to bring it up. They were talking about there are very few lands that only have 4 traits. So they were curious if that means that like because they're more rare, they should be more like, special, but it seems like we're going the path of like, the more things they have, the more utility they'll have. So can you touch on that at all?
Yeah, so some people come into this project, and this is going to be something that you need to be thinking about with any gaming NFT or really any like utility NFT, where rarity does not equal utility. I don't want to speak on value of the NFT, but rarity is a bit different. For example, you could potentially have a piece of land that has none of these traits. Like it probably might not have like any traits associated with like no windmill, no coop, no anything like that. It might be the rarest land, but that's actually probably not the most valuable one or the one that people want the most because there's not utility behind it. So yeah, there's a lot more nuance when it comes to the gaming NFTs versus like PFPs, where like a zero trait ape or something like that is probably the most valuable. It's not quite the same, which is interesting. But just
Mhm.
something to note. We're all focused around like utility and product driven value. That's kind of like the whole MMO of what we've been doing. We want to lead by product. We want to lead by what we're actually building, rather than like hype or um, inflated like price via hype. We think that's kind of the key to long term growth too. Building a core audience who really cares about what we're building, and building a high quality audience and a high quality group of holders is like the most important thing to us early on. And on that note too, though, we're making a ton of initiatives on kind of expanding our audience a lot further in the next couple of month or so, like next couple of sprints actually. Sorry. We're doing a couple things. We're revamping our entire quest system to make a lot more sense. Right now, if you get dropped into the world, common complaint is that people have no idea what to do, and we've actually seen like a good amount of drop off from users who come into our world because they're pretty interested and it's pretty cool, and they don't know what to do, so they leave. That's a huge issue for us, and that's one of the things that we're working on right now. That's kind of the whole idea too. With this game design that we've been working on, the whole challenge here and the whole thing that we've been really, really trying to come up with is what are unique ways that we can get you guys to feel invested into this ecosystem beyond just the farming. So the whole idea is we have this faucet of crops coming into the game. Like if you farm, there's more and more crops every single day that are coming into our ecosystem. What are ways that we can get you guys to use these crops through fun gameplay or through other things that you can be taking care of that really like start to burn these crops or get you to use them. Like we basically just want to create compelling and fun reasons to actually be playing this game at the end of the day. And those are the things we are working on, and those are the things that are going to start coming out more and more as we release more and more features. So one of those things that we're doing is we want to start creating a more in detailed like quest system, one that draws you guys in like a lot better, one that has like a more coherent story, one that's just more fun at the end of the day, and gets you guys like involved and invested into that story, and not just you guys, the landowners, but also players who don't own land. This is going to be like a good mechanic that get people like emotionally invested in what we're building, and get people to care about like getting more um, farming goods. For example, I was just playing Stardew Valley again today, and there's a lot of interesting quest content that gets you like really emotionally involved in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect, and that's the kind of exact feeling that we're going after. We want to get people invested into this game, not just financially, but like more so emotionally. And the emotional investment is going to be the thing that moves this project forward more than anything else. I know it's a different approach, than maybe some other projects, but that's kind of the way that we think we'll have the most long-term success. Again, we're trying to go to mass market. We're trying to make sure that we're building out features that appeal to a really wide audience, not just people in the NFT space, not just people in the crypto space, but people who maybe don't even know anything about that. So we're also redesigning on that note too, our entire onboarding flow to make it extremely user friendly. And the end goal of this product, like if we were to say we had a perfect version of our product in like 6 months to a year, is people are like going to be playing a blockchain backed game in our ecosystem and maybe not even know it's blockchain backed, or we're the company that are onboarding people into crypto for the first time. We're helping them set up their wallets. We're helping them get into this ecosystem. And then the process should be as seamless as possible. So that's just super easy. There's not much setup, and they go from knowing nothing about NFTs in general to owning like several just by playing our game and farming features. So that's kind of the end goal with all of that. There's a ton of exciting stuff around all of this. It's all in the works. We're hearing feedback. We're listening to you guys. And yeah, it's super exciting what we're working on and building. We still think we have super unique takes in this space. And if we pull this off, or when we pull this off, we know we're all going to make it too. So a ton of excitement around all of that. Big things from that blurb. We're working on implementing staking. In our airdrop, or initial token allocation, we're going to be taking into account playtime and land ownership. We know we need incentives to kind of give you guys a thanks for being here early, and we're working on that. So staking will be a part of our ecosystem. Staking will also probably revolve around a few game mechanics too. There might even be like a farming boost if you stake. We're working on like the details beyond that. We're working on creating compelling game features. Our quest system is going to be a large part of that. We're working on releasing cooking. I think cooking is either coming out this sprint or the next sprint. It might get pushed back one sprint to just make it a bit more fleshed out. There's a lot of cool stuff beyond that. I would love one of our devs to come up, or one of our designers to come up and speak about that soon. I'm not sure if they're on, but we have at least that chat on. Yeah, so we're also listening to feedback. We're building out a ton of new features. And we're also like, there's another thing coming soon. We're still missing like one mechanic that's going to like be the main mechanic and the main reason to farm. That's getting designed. There's a lot of cool ideas that we have with that. It'll probably be associated with like another NFT. We can't speak too much about that right now, but just know that's coming, and know that there's going to be something super, super cool around that. We're working with an AI company to help maybe source something around that. That's maybe the only like detail I can give on that right now, but super cool stuff if we pull that off. Yeah, expect probably another NFT associated with that other game mechanic that we're working on. So super exciting stuff. I think I just spilled a lot of alpha. We're working on piecing this all together, and we have a super talented team behind all of this. And on that note too, we're probably hiring like 4 to 5 more people. We can post a job link in the Discord after. If you guys refer us to anybody that we hire, there'll be a pretty significant referral bonus. I think we're going to probably up it from anywhere between like $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the position. So take note on that. Again, our level of talent that we're trying to hire is extremely high, and we're not going to hire somebody that we don't feel like is a good fit. But yeah, we're super excited to grow this team a bit more. There's still a few gaps that we're trying to fill around like engineering. We need a bit more manpower behind that, man and women power. We need we're still looking for an economist. We're contracting one out right now, but we would love a full-time economist who can come in and just do this with us day to day. So yeah, check out this job list. Oh, also UI UX designer. If you guys know any UI UX designer who can help us like really flesh out this onboarding experience to make it like one of the best in crypto, that's kind of what we're after too. So we're trying to hire somebody who's just a specialty or a specialist in that. So I think that's about all I had in terms of like blurb and what we're going on about. There's super exciting stuff. Also, feel free to post any ideas you guys might have in the Discord about what you guys think we should be doing. We love taking feedback. We love hearing your ideas, and they just might make it into the game too. That's kind of the whole point of building in public. So we will be taking your feedback. We will be hearing your ideas. We go through the Discord every single day. We go through the Canny every single day. So keep that up. And yeah, I would love to hear your feedback on everything.
Yeah. So you already talked about a lot of the things that we're working on in this sprint specifically, but I thought it might be nice to just quickly whip through them. So, hard at work, developing a new onboarding process just to make the game a little bit more engaging when you first log in, like you said. Cooking feature, hard at work on that. Talking about maybe having like a recipe book or, what different items create what. So there's a lot going on there. A big one is allowing other users to build or design on your land. So if you look on our Discord, that we have a new behind the scenes um, channel, and one of our developers, Chen, just posted in there earlier with a video describing like what it'll look like. So you should be able to add up to 3 wallets, so 3 kind of land managers or designers, whatever you may call them. At the present time, they will still be subject to the tax rate that you set across the board, but we're talking about maybe implementing some sort of like tax deduction feature for those managers. But yeah, we're still kind of figuring that out. Um, and then we are also working on a farm leveling system, so you can level up your NFT. We haven't figured out like what the reward for that will be, but we're building out that mechanic now. And then, of course, you talked about staking already, so that's cool.
Yeah, so
Um,
on that leveling
mhm.
system, that's pretty cool. Basically, we're turning like all the progress that you guys have made. We've been tracking all of your experience points. We're turning that into like formal levels coming up. So you guys have been really farming hard. Um, you'll probably wake up one day and realize, oh, you're like level 6 or 7 in pixels already and ahead of the game.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited for that one. It'll be good. We'll see who the top farming stars are. Okay, and then some community updates. So Luke spoke on Chibi Dino's Twitter space yesterday, and it went really, really well. It was a lot of fun. So we're curious, like, what other collections do you want to see us chat with? And yeah, just any feedback on that is definitely welcome. Merch is coming along. We've got our artists working hard on that, and it's looking pretty cool. I'm really excited for that. And this is something, yeah. So a few weeks ago, we ran a template contest, and we were absolutely blown away by the submissions that were made. And we really appreciate all the effort and time that was put in. We have decided to not implement templates just for various reasons. But we still want to reward you guys. So we're still trying to internally kind of figure out what that will look like. But you have not been forgotten. Um, and then yeah, still working. We've been meeting with a bunch of different branding studio agencies to figure out a good fit. Working really hard on creating like a solid brief for that, so we should make a decision this week, if not early next week. And then NFT integration updates. So yesterday, or was it Monday? Monday, Dapper Dinos went live, which was really cool. The artwork is pretty sick there. And we're giving away a Dapper Dino. So make sure you enter on Twitter. I'm going to announce the winner on Friday. So yeah, make sure you get your entries in. And then of course, a whole giant list of upcoming collections that are being integrated. uh, Glizzy Gang, Chibi Labs, their apes, which I actually just leaked on Twitter. I didn't say who it was though, but I think someone responded within like 2 seconds of me posting, like it's a chibi ape. So that was really fun. Um, what else is in the works? Larva Labs, Foxy Fam, Galactic Gang. Yeah, and we're planning to try and make these like launches bigger, more fun, right? So, we're giving away a Dapper Dino, and we're going to do like a really fun event with Glizzy Gang, which might like be like a scavenger hunt or some sort of giveaway. We haven't really fleshed it out yet, but yeah, lots of really fun things coming. So then let's head over to Q&A.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, one other thing too.
mhm,
I can't confirm this yet, but we're also experimenting with like other short-term ways that we can get engagement or like reward you guys for being here and playing early. So there's even things that we've been considering like so we're coming out with merch pretty soon. We might be allowing you guys to use things like the in-game coin to buy this merch or like at least get like a significant discount or something like that too. So expect something like that coming up too. We're brainstorming a lot around that. We think that's like a pretty creative and fun way to do that too.
mhm.
So
Yeah, cool. Well, that was actually one of the first Q&A questions, is perks for landowners or early users. So Um,
Yeah. So again, we're introducing staking. Again, the whole point of this project for you early landowners is that we're building a play to earn game. First and foremost, making sure this game is fun and making sure we have a game is like the most crucial thing. If we don't deliver on building a game, this whole project fails. That's kind of the whole point of this. So we're working on making a game that's fun and uses a token as the in-game currency. The token, it's extremely important to get this right. Otherwise, like this is all for nothing, basically. Um, so we're taking our time and we're like being really nuanced with how we go about delivering this. But I just want to assure you guys again, we're working on staking. Landowners, you guys will be rewarded for being here early. That's kind of the whole point of what we were doing this NFT for you guys to be here early to partake in what we're building. And we will be like looking into like length of hold and all of that when we're considering our initial airdrop. That's gonna be a portion of the initial token allocation along with rewards for people who are actually playing this game too. So we're gonna split like probably that allocation somewhat in half. We need to determine the like initial percents. We'll also be going with a two token model similar to Axie Infinity 2, how Axie Infinity does SLP and AXS. We will need a similar model too. It gets kind of cloudy when you're doing a governance token and you are trying to use that governance token as an in-game currency too. You don't necessarily want like the wealthiest players in the game always to like control how the entire game is governed. So that's typically why people split that. And then also typically an in-game currency can be slightly inflationary. You don't really want that with a governance token too. So that's kind of the reason behind the split. So when we do our token allocation, which we're about to get into the works of like finalizing all that, or at least like we're working with investors, we're working with partners. Again, we raised from Animoca Brands, we raised from OpenSea. Like that's why we raised from them. That's all in the works. That's what's coming. Early landowners, I cannot like assure you enough. We appreciate you so much. Like you guys being here means a lot to us. You guys are going to like we're gonna make sure it's worth it.
yeah, and it looks like George, one of our game designers, has come up to speak. We were trying to get him up last week, but it wasn't working.
Hello, hello.
So happy it worked.
Just to
How's it
confirm, you can
going?
hear my voice, right?
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right, I'm happy about that. I thought I'd hop on and update everyone on what we've been working on in terms of narrative.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So my name's George. I'm working on narrative design on Pixels. I was supposed to be here last time, but, you know, unfortunately, my Twitter mic wasn't working. But now it is. So now I have the honor of updating you guys on what we've been doing in terms of like questing. Even though, you know, I feel like I can't really spoil the whole experience for you guys right now. Like I can just like generally speak about what our new philosophy is in terms of like game design and narrative and how they kind of interweave with each other. And yeah, we've been, you know, very hard at work just to make the whole onboarding experience like very intuitive. And the first few tutorial quests, what we've done with them so far and what we're planning to do like going forward is basically linking them to a function, a tutorial type of function. So we want you to we want you to feel that the world has become very intuitive for the player as soon as you log on. That was a early problem. There was a problem early on that we really noticed as soon as we started working on the project. So we were like, we have to fix this, and we that's what we've been working on for all this time. So this sprint, probably you'll see the first few steps that we've taken in that direction. So there will be upgrades in terms of like game design, but also narrative and quest and like. You know, I've been trying really hard to, you know, do justice to the game and the hard work all of development is putting into the game, and just package it in a way that is fun and like entertaining and like, you know, so it doesn't feel like you're just going through the motions to get to the farming part. You know, we're trying to world build around farming, obviously, and other key mechanics that will be integral to the gameplay and the gameplay cycle. But getting there should be fun as well. So you guys, you know, after this sprint, after the update is kind of integrated, you guys might notice that, you know, there's a different kind of flavor to characters. You know, there's a layer of depth. We've chosen this approach to take we call it a 3-layer approach, which is basically it's kind of inspired by all similar games, and it goes like maybe like 1 or 2 steps extra with it. So basically, layer 1 would be the tutorial quests and just meeting the characters and all of the basic things you do in an MMORPG type of game. Whereas layer 2 is more like it becomes partially optional. We really wanted to experiment with that idea that like a player could just log into the game. They could go through the initial quest, understand what the game is about, and just farm and never have to worry about like essential quests if they don't want to do them, right? But we also wanted to give the game, a little bit of depth in the sense of, hey, when you're done farming, why would you log off when we could just, go and take a walk around Terra Villa? And Terra Villa is going to become a major hub of sorts in the world building of the game. As it has become apparent, and so basically layer 2 will explore that. Layer 2 will explore, deeper emotional content, like emotional connections with different types of characters, how they interconnect with one another, how they communicate with one another. And layer 3 will be almost like this, the whole mystique the world is going to have. So the world is going to gain these 2 layers of depth that you can explore, at your own pace, whatever you want to. There's a lot of mysteries. There's a lot of, things to find out, a lot of detective type of maneuvering that the player can do. So I'm really looking forward to like building that up and see how you guys respond to it. We did not go fully crazy, fully all in with the initial quest because we still believe they have to be very functional in terms of, being practical and almost like teaching new players the ways of the game, so to say. But the ones that are we're going to be designing coming forward are going to be much more, how to say, challenging, but not in a moral sense, but challenging in a sense of like, can we make the player laugh? Can we kind of subvert your expectations a little bit? Can we give you something that you haven't seen before? Our primary goal is for it to be fun and for it to be unexpected and for it to make you feel like, hey, there's more depth to this than I initially thought. And just put a smile on everyone's faces. That's what we've been trying to do. What else can I say? I can tell you guys that in terms of world building, I am just getting started. But even though we don't have anything tangible to give you right now, and also that would kind of spoil the whole experience. But I can tell you what our general philosophy is in that regard, and it's to try to integrate the development of this thing. Because we've been world building intuitively, because we've been world building the game, creating the game world with development. That has been a really fun challenge. And so far it's worked really well for us. So I've been trying to integrate that into the game. So you guys, become a part of the story of the development of the game. That was my way of kind of, introducing the new things development has been, the progress development has been making to the players, to you guys. And we want to make you an integral part of that. So you're going to be seeing all of this stuff. You're going to be experiencing this stuff. If there's a big bug we're fixing, or if there's like new content that we're adding, all of this development process is going to be super transparent through quests, through characters, through the factions we're making. And we just can't wait to show it to you guys. We've been working overtime on this stuff. That's really all I have to give right now. Sorry, I can't give you guys more.
All right, I have a quick question for you. I got a
Sure.
quick question for you from the community. Will players that have completed the old quests be able to do these new introductory ones?
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. We're hoping they will. We're hoping they will. So right now we're figuring out how to almost like implement these new ones without, creating a whole lot of chaos with the old ones. So definitely we're looking out for you guys, and we definitely will want you to play through this content as well. Just so we get your feedback on it. So moving forward, we know what to do with this stuff. A lot of the process with with building these quests and just doing these kind of experimental things with the quests depends largely on like how the community reacts to them. So if you guys tell us like, we prefer this or that direction, we could take that into consideration. That is because it's like so linked, the genre of the game and the features of the game and just the whole vibe in the community, like development and community are so linked in Pixels. So that is totally a possible thing. So yes, the short answer is yes. And I don't know, the
Amazing.
development process has been like, engineering has been really good to us, really, really good to us in that regard. So we don't have any technical issues in that regard. We can just go to them and be like, I need a penguin, a body bag, and an alien, and they'll be like, yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah,
amazing.
Sweet. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing that with the entire audience. So yeah, that's one big initiative that we're working on, guys. Like the quests before, they were great. They were fun. They were really good, like way for us to get out content to you guys. Like these next quests that we're doing are just at like another level of quality that we didn't have before. And that's kind of the whole point of what we've been working on too. Just improve the entire game experience, make this feel more like a game where if somebody who knew nothing about Web3 came up to it, they were going to be like, oh, this is a sick game. Which sounds like super straightforward and basic, but have you guys played Web3 games? That's not really the standard of the space right now. And that's kind of what we're going for, and that's what we're working towards. So our narrative team has been awesome. You wouldn't believe the conversations that we have. They're extremely creative. They're actually crushing what we're building. So it's been super exciting, and that's going to be a lot more content coming out soon. We're like revamping a ton of the mechanics around our quest too, just making the experience nicer, like better dialogue boxes, better characters, better story arcs, and that's going to be like a huge part of the game coming up. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, George.
Great. And then speaking of amazing developers, yeah, we're so happy to have you guys up. Chen, also known as Pixel Ape, he just released the video on what would it be called, the channel again? Behind the scenes. I keep calling it building in public, but behind the scenes. How's it going, Chen?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Chen, or aka Pixel Apes. You guys can probably just call me Ape or something, or Chen. Yeah. I'm. Oh, do they know my background, or
no?
I'll just
nothing about you. So dox as much as you want.
Okay. I thought you guys already doxed me or something. Maybe yeah. So I was in the yeah. Yeah, I was like, so I was in a startup world, came from like a big company and then joined a startup. And then when we went through YC in like 2020, I think. And then later I just went into the blockchain space and then bought some NFTs, basically went through all like play to earn games in the NFT spaces like My Pet Hooligan. And there's also the wolf sheep game, the cat mouse game, and all that stuff. So now, I think basically from the technical side, I'm anywhere from like building a website or full stack, create an app like Flutter, all that stuff. That's what my job does. What my job is. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chen is a beast, so don't underestimate him.
Oh yeah, and I just want to say it's really an honor for me to work with all the CTOs. I think we're like playing this game at a very high level, and then and to be honest, there's probably a like internal competition going, something like that. So we're trying to compete like who's better. Just kidding. So yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I thought I was a good coder, and now I realized I just shouldn't code anymore because all these people that we brought on are way better than me, which is great.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming up. We really appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I'm also in charge of the Kenny. So like, if you guys have any requests, and I'm all ears. If you be like specific, we'll plan that into the sprint and then build it. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Direct access to engineers. is canny. We read it. We're not kidding. Please add everything to canny. Okay, I've got a whole bunch of questions. Are we ready, Luke?
Ready.
Okay. Will we be able to copy paste land design?
Yes, that's what a template system is going to be, and we already have that kind of in place, but we're making some changes around that pretty soon. That'll be an announcement in its own right. We're like the game design team has been trying to figure out a way to make sure that the traits and what you have reflected in the NFT is actually more in line with what's being displayed in the game, and like the utility is more associated closely with it too. So we want to kind of emphasize that while still giving you guys like plenty of creative room. So there's been an interesting debate internally on how we're handling that. We just kind of solved that. So that's going to be a whole new update coming up around that. For example, like Spaceland will look drastically different than Waterland, will look drastically different than like normal land. So expect stuff around that coming soon. And that's kind of going to be more of the focus to reflect utility, to reflect like what your traits actually look like, rather than that.
Okay, and I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but maybe give like a quick recap. What are the benefits of farming without land? Is there a document?
Oh, the benefits are so we're building a play to earn game. So right now it's not blockchain backed, but farming without land, you'll still get all these resources, which will eventually be blockchain backed. And we're actually going to count all the progress that you're making in the game when we're doing our airdrop. The whole point of play to earn is kind of creating this aligned incentive where people who believe in the project or like find our game fun also get to be like a part of this journey and get to be a part of what we're creating. So there's two types of players that we really care about right now. There's two like segments that we really care about right now. It's people who don't own land who play our game, and then it's people who own land who have been like here with us from the beginning. And we're trying to find ways to reward both of those when we create our token. That'll probably be two separate pools that we're drawing from when we're doing our airdrop and when we're actually designing this as we're designing this token. So if you were to look at Axie Infinity's token design, they did a lot of things really well. I think their initial token design is something that like a lot of play their in games can learn from. They reserved a large portion of their pool for staking, and they reserved a large portion of their pool for in-game rewards. We're going to do something similar to that as well, where like part of our um, initial token allocation will likely be reserved for people who held land and like kind of mimicking staking, even though we don't have it right now. The awesome thing about being on chain, especially L1, is that we can take a look and see how long everybody held and all of that as well too, and take that into account when we decide to drop this token, which is looking about like 3 to 4 months out still. Again, the intention is like we want to make sure this is right. There's potential for us to drop a token initially right when we drop staking. That probably will happen. But then like full integration of this token is still probably 3 to 4 months out of getting like into the actual game. So more info on that soon. But yeah, if you're farming right now without like owning land, number one, I hope you're enjoying it. Like first and foremost, we want to create an enjoyable and fun experience. And number two, this will be like all the progress you're making will be tracked and we taken into account.
Yeah, and honestly, if I'm being honest, I own land and I just am so swamped. I haven't gotten around to designing it, and I prefer to farm on lands that are beautifully designed. So I'm almost like acting like I don't own land, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I just love traveling to everyone else's worlds and seeing what they've done. So speaking of design, I've got lots of questions about like land design and all of that. I guess this one's a little bit unrelated, actually. So, login and teleporting between lands will be revamped. What can we expect on that front? How fast can you go from farm to farm? Right now, I'm averaging around 15 to 20 seconds. And now, when I count, it took 42 seconds. So,
Yeah,
that's
so
impressive
there's
counting.
on load times, there's a patch that needs to get in pretty soon. It was supposed to make the last sprint. It looks like it got delayed a bit. If it's ready, we might be able to hot patch that in. That should drastically increase load times. Like it shouldn't be more than like 5 to 10. Like it should be around like the 5 second mark if we do that. I can get technically into why that's happening. Basically, we're just like preloading a bunch of stuff we don't need to preload. So we just cut that out. But then, yeah, so seamless room switching experience is pretty important. We have half of that code done. That's going to be coming soon. And yes, so I also saw that question about larger game worlds. So yeah, the first thing that needs to happen to get this larger game world is the seamless room switching. The second thing that we're doing as we introduce more quests, that will also introduce like more areas and other things to do like that too. The idea is to model a lot after RuneScape too. So you guys have your shared world where like a lot of the like questing happens, where a lot of like our generated content happens that gives you guys reasons to be using the resources that you farm. And then a lot of the like input generation. So like what we call the faucets when we're talking about economics happens on your guys' farms. So where all the resources in the game come from typically are going to be coming from your farms. There might be like a special item or two from a quest in other lands, and there might be like more content to do in like our own world. But yeah, it's gonna be a combination of like a more in-depth game world that gets you guys like invested, that gets other players invested, and then like still has a reason for using all these resources that are farmed.
Yeah, and that perfectly leads into this whole slew of questions I've got. So bear with me while I read through some of them. Does food mean combat? Will pets be herbivores? I'm concerned cooking is coming early when I think of the RuneScape aspect. Fishing would also be cool for pets to feed raw fish, maybe. Cooking can wait. Would energy work across different skills? Have different energy bars? Yeah, I think, wait. Yes, they're kind of talking about like, I think they're comparing it a bit to RuneScape. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, RuneScape's a great model to compare from because basically RuneScape already is a play to earn game. They have a really vibrant economy. It just is lacking the benefits of being play to earn, where you don't actually own the progress you make. Jagex makes game changing like pushes without community feedback a lot of the times. They have like the ability to completely change the economy on a whim without like any input from users. And with play to earn and like being blockchain backed, it kind of settles a lot of those concerns, especially as like we decentralize more and more. And then also like we completely feel like you should own the progress that you make in the game, and also you get like this aligned incentive in play to earn too. But that being said, yeah, there are like more skills that we're coming out with. The whole idea is to basically close the game loops that we're opening up. So farming is like the first piece of a game loop, where it's like a resource generator. Now we're coming up with ways that kind of close this game loop of giving you guys like really fun reasons to be using these. There's mechanics in the work that involve using these. Like I'm not going to be specific on it right now because we're still like making the final call on what that looks like and we're developing it. But things like think about pets, think about like combat or other like mechanics associated with that. That's kind of going to be the like a game loop closer of like, okay, this is like the first iteration of our game. These are all the things that you can do in it, and then we'll be expanding upon it more and creating more and more content after that.
Okay, and then there's some question around energy drinks being nerfed as we move on to cooking. Do we have a vision for that?
So yes, we're working on game balance now. Like the energy drink is like a bit unbalanced, it looks like as well too. We have our game designer taking a look at that soon. It'll probably be nerfed a little bit currently. It looks like, yeah, right now it's like a bit too high in the energy level. Luckily, that's something that we can adjust quite easily, and something that we'll be adjusting ASAP.
Okay, are there going to be improvements in the editing land tools for next sprint?
I'm not sure if that's coming next sprint, but there is features coming around that we're going to be changing what that looks like a little bit. I don't know how much I want to say about that right now because we're making pretty big changes around that. That's been a lot of our like design efforts lately. But basically, we're gonna have reasons to upgrade your land. We're gonna make it like a part of the gameplay as well too. That's gonna be one of our syncs in the game. Upgrading your land and making sure that it's like a bit more balanced in that sense too. And then making sure that the hard work that you guys put into farming is like a bit more appreciated as well. Where you guys have like more things to spend on the land. So we're updating the world editor. Yes. We're also updating the store quite drastically as well. I'm not sure. I don't have the timeline with me. I'm not sure where that is in the timeline. That's coming quite soon. We kind of want to release that update where we change the store, where we change the world editor, and like a bigger update when we have one other thing with it as well too. But there's a lot coming around with that. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Someone is saying, please nerf the price, but not the the energy. Okay. Anyways, people are asking about moving from hot to cold wallets. Not exactly what their specific question is, if it's like the NFT or the token, but
Yeah, so with staking coming up, that's probably going to be our main priority when we're talking about
right.
that. So yeah, just be aware of that. Like we think staking is probably the better route to go when it comes to like holding long term, and holding in like a more secure place.
Okay. I think that's all the questions we actually have for now. If you have any last minute questions, please throw them in the general channel on Discord, or of course, you can come up on stage here on Twitter. Just request to be a speaker. People are confused, let's say, about this energy drink nerf. It's not confirmed yet. We're just trying to figure out a perfect game balance. So, yeah, no confirmation on that yet. But
Yeah, but
several people are typing, so we should have some
it does
questions here.
seem like it needs to be nerfed a bit though. Just you can't farm unlimitedly. I think it's not quite the same, but
Someone's asking if we can have it like a Trello board where they can follow releases and progress, like a public Trello. Yeah, I think Tyler, I say Tyler because we've been really focused on building in public more. And so I'm not sure what Tyler's vision for that is, or if he wants to speak to that. But yeah. Oh, there you go. I was waiting for him to request to speak. Perfect.
I am. Yeah.
Hello.
Building in public, as you could see, is one thing is, as you could hear from Luke and everything we're saying, is how much we're working on at the same time right now. So a lot of what we're trying to figure out is priorities, and that is balancing short term and long term. So we're reading everything we see in Discord about bring us this utility, bring us that utility. So we're moving basically in Web3 versus a Web2 company. We're all seeing is we have to move a lot faster and we have to move a lot more in public. So right now, Candy really is that tool for us versus Trello. So like you heard, Chen is kind of, we spoke about him being in charge of the canny. At least we have someone who's there. The main priority has really been taking the bugs from canny. So you could actually go to canny and see anything that gets moved to in progress on our actual team's project management system will move to in progress on that canny board as well. So as long as we're properly linking those, so now that Chen's doing it, it's going to be properly linked. So go to Canny anytime you want to see that. And there's even ways for us to make this even more visible. So give us a little bit of time. I know it's like hard for us, for maybe some of you to hear, is like, give us a little bit of time on things just because it takes time to develop. So we're developing our roadmap right now. There's a lot of shifting priorities, but as soon as we have something a little bit more finalized and formal, which should be coming in the next couple of weeks, we should be able to release a longer term roadmap. And then you guys can hold us accountable to it, which is going to be fun too, because we're going to put it out there and then we're going to hit it. So
Hell yeah. All right.
yeah,
Thank you for answering that question.
thanks, Tyler. And then high level roadmap doesn't change though. We've had this high level roadmap for the longest time of like, okay, we're building a game, we're looking at metrics to make sure the game is actually fun. Then we're dropping a token. That's been the like roadmap since day one. It's in the white paper, it's in the docs, and we've been like super adamant on this. When we say roadmap, that Tyler is speaking about, it means like getting super nitty gritty. We're gonna be building in public into a level that no other project is, where you're basically gonna be seeing what we're working on every single week. All the things that are moving around and all the priorities that are shifting. So it's even like a level of roadmap that like when you're talking about roadmap in terms of like a technical team, like that's what you normally talk about, not like an NFT project, but that's what we're going to be offering you guys pretty soon, like a complete and transparent look into what we're building and how we're like when we're building it.
Okay. So what happened to CryptoFunks and Lazy Lions?
Yeah, those are getting patched really soon. I don't want to dig into it too much. We might have switched APIs and not have realized that the API that we switched to wouldn't support a particular collection. Um, so yeah, we're putting a backup in place for that collection. But yeah, it's actually not surprising that that one isn't on there when we think about it now. But that was just overlooked when we were testing and QAing, which is kind of funny, but also not. So that's coming back really soon.
Yeah, no, and that's high on the priority. Getting integrated collections that, maybe there's like a little bug with them or something, where that's high on our priority list of getting those fleshed out, which is also a reason why we've been integrating, or I guess launching, fewer integrations over the last like week or two. We've just been really nailing the process as we also onboarded new team members to that. So, okay, are we moving towards a RuneScape-sized world? Will Terra be expanded? We kind of touched on this earlier.
But yeah, that's
yes.
kind of the whole point of the quest system. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like what we're doing in terms of like user or like pixels generated content. There's a lot we can do with that. So we have a world builder that's accessible to us just like you guys do. And it's actually like a pretty easy way that we can generate content. We're working on all the world building. We're working on like building a convincing story around all of that. But yeah, that's actually kind of the fun part too that we get to do. And I think the whole narrative team is super excited to get working on that and get moving on that a bit more. But yes, expect a lot more content around that soon. Know that like when we're ready to build it, when it makes sense in terms of narrative, it's going to be quite quick for us to build because it's all no code tooling. We have all the art already made, and it's like something that we can move on pretty fast.
Yeah, and so then someone asked about collections having their own quests. So at the moment, I'm working with some collections to create like fun little quests in game. And when I say quests, they're more like almost like scavenger hunts with rewards and having like fun together as a collection on their land. Eventually, we're hoping to have some sort of like quest builders in place, I believe. But yeah, so that's kind of in the works a little bit.
Yeah, so one feature set that I'm really pushing for our dev team is when we're building these new quests and like building all the systems around it, like let's try to build in no code tooling around that as well too. That's something I want to release to people who own land as well. That might be a little ways off, but not that far off. Really just depends on like how this new hiring wave goes, and how much more dev capacity that we can get on in terms of when we can actually release that. We're probably trying to like hire 3 more developers, it looks like, just to like really pick up the pace on some of this stuff. Even though the developers we have are moving so fast already, it's actually crazy, like way faster than I ever expected. The team of developers we have right now. But yeah, we do want to get out of Quest Builder. That's like a really cool feature. I'm always looking for more ways that we can do user generated content, because that's just like the most scalable way to build, where you guys get more engaged, you guys have more things to do with your land, and then it's content that we don't have to make. So that's always great for us.
Okay, so that wraps up all the questions we have. Thank you for coming out today. Once again, it's been an amazing AMA. My last note would be don't forget to enter the Dapper Dinos giveaway on Twitter.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Awesome. Bye, guys.